Hello, my name is Ben Fry. This is a case study on Gebser versus Lago Vista Independent School District for EDU 503. Um, this case, Gebser versus Lago Vista Independent School District, is a question um, brought up as to whether or not a school district may be held liable in damages under Title IX in regards to a case of sexual harassment of a student by a district teacher. Um, the case itself, in the spring of 1991, Alita Starr Gebser was an eighth grader at a middle school in the Lago Vista school district. Gebser joined a high school book discussion group led by teacher Frank Waldrop, who was a teacher at um, Lago Vista High School. During the book discussion sessions, um, Waldrop made often made sexually suggestive comments to the students. When Gebser entered high school in the fall of 91, she was assigned to classes taught by Waldrop in both the fall and spring semesters, at which time Waldrop continued to make inappropriate remarks to the students and began to direct more of his comments towards Gebser. Um, when the two were alone, um, after Waldrop um, visited Gebser's home to allegedly give her a book, while Waldrop initiated sexual contact with Gebser, and then through the rest, or I guess the what Gebser and Waldrop engaged in sexual intercourse on a number of occasions during the remainder of the school year. Um, Gebser did not report the relationship to school officials in fear that she would lose him as a teacher, even though she knew that the conduct was improper. In October 1992, um, the parents of two other students in the district um, arranged a meeting with the principal to complain about Waldrop's comments made in class. Um, the principal arranged a meeting where he kind of filled Waldrop in on what was happening. Waldrop indicated that he did not believe he made any offensive remarks, but apologized to the parents and said it would not happen again. And the principal advised Waldrop to be careful about his comments in the classroom and told the school guidance counselor about the meeting, but did not report the complaints to the superintendent, who was acting as the Title IX coordinator. Then in January of 1993, Waldrop and Gebser were discovered to be having sexual intercourse by police officers, and Waldrop was arrested. Lago Vista terminated his contract and his employment at the school, and the Texas Education Agency revoked his teaching license. Um, at this time, the school district did not have an official procedure for lodging complaints on sexual harassment, and they also did not have a formal anti-harassment policy. Um, Gebser and her mother filed a suit um, and claims against the school district and against Waldrop under Title IX, looking for compensation for damages. Um, the deciding factor for the courts in deciding whether or not Title IX was an issue um, basically stated that there was no supervisor who had enough knowledge to, or didn't know that the abuse was happening. And when you look at the overall um, facts of the case, while the parents had gone in and complained about comments made during class by Mr. Waldrop, that alone was not enough evidence for the principal or a supervisor to go in and issue an investigation into his classroom. Um, and even if they would have done that, there's no guarantee they would have found um, Waldrop and Gebser to be having a sexual relationship, and there was no indication of it at the time. On the other hand, um, the Gebser and her mother um, are fighting the school in that the school does not have an anti-harassment policy, and there is no direct line of communication or communication process for reporting um, this kind of incident. Um, as an activities administrator, an activities director, athletic director, whatever the case may be, your job is to oversee and supervise all the athletic programs, additional activities that your school district offers to its students. And that's the key part. It's you're offering that stuff to the students. In the event that a student reports inappropriate comments made by a coach or an activity sponsor, it's your job to investigate and put a stop to the comments. Now, um, as indicated in this case, they did not have a proper process of um, reporting these types of incidents. So making sure in your activities handbook, athletic handbook, that you have a proper way, process of reporting any sort of issue that your student athlete might have is important. Um, Another factor that plays along with this is informing your coaches that this kind of behavior obviously can't happen, but if it's noticed or if there's any indication of it, it needs to be reported. Um, in the event that a coach is having some sort of inappropriate contact or relationship with a student athlete, um, and another coach hears wind of it or sees any sort of signs, anything like that, it's their job as a mandatory reporter to report this to you, and that needs to be made aware to them as well. There's a process in how to go about doing this tactfully, um, so that way all of the information can be gathered and people aren't being accused of things out of turn or that aren't in fact true. But all of these kinds of situations have to be taken seriously until all of the information is gathered, and you can either dismiss the case because of it not being factual, or you can, you know, handle the fallout if it is to happen in your school district. These types of cases are, don't seem to be as frequent as some other types, but they happen more than you think, and um, it always, it happens in districts a lot closer to home than you think. So being prepared for these kinds of things and covering your bases as an AD, by making sure that there's a clear line of communication between parents, student athletes, coaches, and a clear process in how to do this and how to communicate these types of issues is important. Thank you.